Hello, and welcome back to another one of our coverage for Summer Games Fest Play Days. I'm Karosh, and I'm joined by Miles. We're doing our coverage for the event, and we have tons of impressions and gameplay and stuff. And we just got off the heels of one from Capcom. We saw some presentation of Resident Evil Requiem, and we're eager to get into it. So, Miles, just overall initial thoughts. What did you think of what you saw of Resident Evil Requiem?
Yeah, so the Capcom appointment was our first of the entire weekend, and I finally got to see Resident Evil 9 Requiem. I can go home happy. That's all I needed. It looks amazing. I don't really want to say too much without spoiling. I'm not sure what we can't say. But yeah, so if you're a fan of the older games, that survival horror element is back like in droves. Terrifying, claustrophobic, amazing sound. You play as Grace Ashcroft, which if you're a fan of like the older games, Alyssa Ashcroft was one of the main characters in Resident Evil Outbreak and is Grace's mom, and that apparently ties into the larger story here. Gameplay-wise, they showed off starting out in first person, like 7 and 8. But then at the end of the demo, they went into the options, and you can toggle between first and third, which is great because when I was watching them play through it, this was a hands-off thing. It was just like a walkthrough. I was like, okay, first person's cool. That worked for the last two. So is third person reserved only for the remakes? And that's not the case. But yeah, I'm really excited for this. They did like a walkthrough of some like hotel area. It's dark and dreary. They didn't show any combat, no guns or like melee weapons or anything, but the D-pad like quick tool menus are there. So and it's Resident Evil, so like there's gonna be guns and weapons and stuff. So yeah, I'm really excited. I'm a massive fan. So what'd you think, Rush?
I've had not a hit or miss relationship, but I've not been as diehard a fan as I know you are. I've enjoyed many of the games, but the ones I've typically played are more on the action side.
Yeah.
And so for this one to kind of like lean, again, they've been building this repertoire and reputation for leaning into the immersive horror, into the, hey, every minute there's like this pending, fear and suspense. Yeah. And I felt like every element of this was slow, methodical, simmering, building up this tension. And they did everything from the visual elements to the lighting element, from the lighting and everything, to the sound elements of footsteps and just all kinds of like, so intentional with that, and so like I thought a lot of care put into that, and I really appreciate that. This was captured, what we saw was on PS5 Pro.
Yes.
And yeah, I was like, I'm not a typical horror fan. I was a little bit on the edge of my seat, but I also dug it. So it was like this weird, like, I don't want it, but I want to. And,
yeah.
It was very cool. I very much was into it. I liked a lot of the ways in which they have you interact or not interact and like how they do it. It felt very familiar to what is known with Resident Evil, but also very like they're trying some new things out.
Yeah.
I loved a lot of that. So I'm excited to see more. I'm excited to hear more. Is there any big like questions you're leaving with, like
yes.
that you're like, I hope they get to this, or anything that you're hoping for, I guess, Miles?
Yeah. Okay. So when it was revealed at the Summer Game Fest live show at the Keighley event Friday, in the trailer it showed like Raccoon City with like the nuke crater and stuff like that, and then Jeff Keighley himself said it's like one of the biggest like scope games that they've made, which is interesting because what we saw was a tiny level.
Very intimate.
That's a good word for it. Very similar to the like mansion area where it's like tight, and there's like that typical like giant relentless monster thing that'll chase you like a Mr. X or Nemesis or something. My biggest question is like how big a scale will it be, and because I remember there was like rumors last year that it might be open world. I don't know how survival horror and an open world game would mix. In my opinion, I don't think it would, but I trust Capcom. Story-wise, I would love to see why we're going back to Raccoon City and see kind of what's going on there, and the significance of bringing the Ashcroft name back, because Resident Evil Outbreak is kind of like a spin-off, but in that game, you're playing as survivors trying to escape. And so maybe they'll tie it back that way. And I would love to see if they bring it back, like popular characters like Jill, Chris, Leon, or something. I don't know. We only got to see like 10 minutes of gameplay, but the game's out February, so it's not that far away. So I'm really excited. This is so far. This is already my game of the show. So yeah. And you?
Everything he said, plus Chris Redfield maybe punching a boulder would be
Oh
cool.
yeah,
That's a staple for me.
of course.
But we're going to be covering a lot more games for Temple of Geek at Summer Games Fest Playdays. Look for more of our content on the channels, so be sure to check it out. Thanks as always for reporting.